going on? My name is John Rogers. I'm one of the founders at the 215 guys here with my friend and partner, Mark. Mark, you can say hello too. It's okay. You can dot it.
I'm Mark. I'm one of the co-founders of the 215 guys.
There we go. Awesome. And I was just down in Old City. I was catching up with clients, and they were asking some really good questions about just our office space and being an agency and being in the city of Philadelphia, and how we provide a cool space for our employees to work in and be creative. So after that conversation, I figured, hey, we should probably make a short video about this, talk through some of the fun things, share a little bit, and here we are. So I wrote down some of the questions he asked me, and figured we just dive into a few and chat about them. Mark, does that sound good?
Yep.
Cool. All right. So he was just curious right out of the gate. Do you have a physical office? Yes, we have almost always had a physical office. I know
Yes,
we
it's the
first
beginning.
start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know when we first started our company, the John Inc., going to be a local Yelp competitor. We were working remotely. I was still in San Francisco. Mark and Jeremy were here in Philadelphia. And then whenever I moved back to the city, we worked out of your parents' loft space on South Street, and they live there
Y-
now, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they live there now. At the time I was living there, I think I lived there for just over a year, maybe two
Yeah.
years. I'm not even sure. But during that time, most of it was my living space and our office.
Yeah, that was sweet. Like, yeah, like your bedroom was upstairs, and we come
Yeah.
into the work at like the big giant table we got from IKEA, like our first business
Our first
expense. For
purchase. Yeah.
yeah, we were like $300. Come on now.
It was a nice
Um,
table.
that was a nice table.
I
But
don't
that
think
place
we
was
even had
great.
chairs, right? I think we
Yeah,
trash picked some chairs.
we did right back on Cater Street. That was fun. Uh, but yeah, I mean that place was great. It allowed us to have a community place to come together. We hired our first like junior employee who's still with us to this day, Austin, um, to be a junior dev with us. And that place was a great starting off point.
It
Whenever your
was,
parents
yeah.
decide to move in from the burbs and be like, hey, we need our beautiful modern loft space at Broad and South back, we were like, okay. Uh,
Lump.
yeah, and then we
Uh,
moved to your spot on Bainbridge Street, which was awesome.
yeah, still my living space, but it was bi-level, and I lived in the lower level, and we had our office on the ground level, and that worked out pretty nice because it had its own area and it had its own bathroom and other meeting area.
Sure, sure.
Worked
Yeah, we
out
had that little
nice.
back room, and there was that little the backyard was really
Oh
nice
yeah,
too. We didn't spend too much time out there, but it was at least good for like phone calls,
yeah,
and like hosting some people. It was our first like off. Oh no, we had people at the Loftus too. Actually, we had some dinners there.
yeah,
Going back, man.
yeah.
Um, but then we hired our second employee. No, we didn't
Laura,
hire our second employee there, Laura. We interviewed Laura there,
we did.
and then we brought her back for another job when we moved to Chestnut Street, um,
I think we had
which was our.
some interns. Yeah,
We did, yeah. That guy who did the ninja fighting. It was like a jujitsu guy or something like that, or
I don't remember him.
it was been a
Um,
bunch.
yeah, it was also nice. The location was nice. There were a lot of restaurants
Oh
right there,
yeah,
Bainbridge
Nora's
and
Kitchen for
South
the
area.
burritos.
Yeah.
Extra meat, double extra meat burritos.
And then after that, we got our first real office,
Oh
where
yeah.
I did not live there. The first one.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, that was our first like legit space, and it was like as a business we were growing, and we saw that we needed to have a more not that our other places were not professional. I mean, they're fine. We're a young agency, like we don't need to have like a downtown office, but it was definitely like a flagship location. Third and Chestnut, second floor of a huge building, tall ceilings.
full
It was the
kitchen.
home, full kitchen. It was the home of the Philly Game Forge for a while. It's always been kind of like an entrepreneurial community hub space, and that was great. That was like real rent too. Like our rent was pretty expensive per month. We took that cost on, knowing that with bills and rent and everything else to power the office, that was going to be part of our overhead moving forward. And it's something which, we knew we could do it. And we did do it for almost what, 2 years there.
Yeah, almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Then it burned down.
Then it burned down. That's going to be that could be another conversation. I don't want to hash into that because that's depressing and difficult time for I think us personally, but also for the company.
Yeah.
But for this video, long story short, our neighbors downstairs arsoned the building. That shit sucked.
Yeah. And
Anyway,
they were just recently convicted, like only
yes,
a
they
few
were
months
recently
ago, as
convicted.
of recording
Yep,
this.
yep, crazy. And then after that, we were homeless for a couple of months. I got a nice offer from WebLink. I said we wouldn't talk too much about this, but we had a nice little home at WebLink for a while. Shout out to WebLink. Held us down for a couple of months, offered us space to host our employees, keep the company running. And then we found, after hunting around, wanting to stay in Old City, the place that I'm currently at right now, at 151 North 3rd Street. Right between Quarry and Race. We have the top 2 floors of this building here, and it's wonderful. Um, Raw space, not like our other office. We were trying to find something similar. We put a lot of work into our Chestnut Street office, from just cleaning it and straightening it up and doing all the polishing here and there that was required. But yeah,
Yeah, it's hard to find that kind of space for the price
yeah,
we were looking for.
absolutely.
But
So
we finally found this new place, and yeah, like John said, it was pretty raw and it needed a lot of work.
yeah, we'll put, like, somehow in this video, I'll point over here wherever we maybe put a picture of us in with masks on and like cleaning it out, painting it. It was a bunch of work to get this place together, but got to stay in Old City, got to stay around our community of other small business owners we know, friends, have a central location. And it's been our home for another couple of years now. So, uh,
But
yeah,
unfortunately, due to COVID, we're not there that often.
that's true. That's
We've
true.
mostly moved to remote, but we do meet there sometimes. John and Jeremy more than I do.
Yeah, I have all these plant babies around, so I got to come and keep the office squared away in that regard. And yeah, Jeremy and I come here to pick up client checks, and they mail them to our office. Just check on the space, obviously. And while we don't come here regularly, week in and week out with our employees, we have had a couple of creative meetings. Had lunch in Old City with the employees, and if it ever becomes safe, and convenient for everyone again, we do miss that in office experience where I can lean to the right and say hi to a designer, ask a question immediately to a developer. We are in Discord now, which is not like an office, but it's a space where we all gather and share the funny memes that we like, and like make jokes. And Mark shares about his chickens and his ducks, and I'm sharing pictures from the garden. Our project manager is out at a pool somewhere. There's a lot of things that we try to keep that camaraderie and environment together without being in a physical space. But yeah, I thought that was a great question. We didn't talk, obviously, when I was chatting with my friend, all through everything we just talked about, but the idea that we still keep a physical office, with the hopes of getting back to it one day. Um, he was like surprised. He was like, "Seriously, you guys have an office? You're an agency. You don't really need one anymore nowadays. Why do you maintain that cost? Why do you pay for internet? Why do you pay for rent and bills and all that stuff?" We'd still see value in keeping our physical space, and having a home for our company. But over the years, we've moved and done a bunch of different things. So we'll see what the next few years have in store for us as well. Uh, Good question, Dan. I appreciate that, man.